Hi, welcome to the Lightfall prep video. I don't want an intro for this, so instead, how about a joke? Ready? What do you call a quiet Hawaiian joke? Aloha. Okay, for the 3 people that survived that joke and are still here, so we're going to be talking about Lightfall prep today. Just a quick disclaimer, I'm going to be talking about a bunch of things, but none of them are going to be mandatory. So you could do all these things if you'd like, you could do some of these if you'd like, or you could do absolutely none of them. This is just for prepping, over-prepping, just having things going to DLC that you might want to have right away. For example, like a ton of upgrade modules, just to give you one example. Things like that. So, again, you don't have to do these. This is just helpful stuff. Moving on, let's begin. Let's do the elephant in the room first. Weekly bounties, let's get over them. So these are the weekly bounties that you can save towards Lightfall. They are the most XP out of any bounty in the game. What you want to ideally do is save as many weeklies as you can, and then fill the rest with daily bounties. These are the ones that you should/could save. Starting at the top, Ascend and Challenge bounties. 1 per week, 6 total. If this is, you watching last month of the season, you have 4 to go. You missed out on 2. I did make a video on these, though, well in advance. Maybe hit the notification bell to keep track of those. Just saying. You can save 4 of these and then move on. Also, there's a blind wall bounty that you can do it any week at any point from Petra just 1 time. So that's a total of 7 bounties if you caught each week from the Dreaming City. Next up, clan bounties. Obviously, you need to be in a clan to do these. If you're not in a clan, just ignore these. If you are, at least get the easy ones done, which is like complete a Nightfall, complete a raid, 20 kills in Crucible, 10 kills in Gambit, stuff like that. If you don't want to do Gambit/Crucible wins, or Gambit/Crucible matches, because it's 10 per character, don't bother with those. Or if you're a masochist, do bother with those. Moving on, Europa. There's 4 bounties total, 1 that you could do at any point each week, and then 1 for each Empire hunt for a 3-week cycle total. So you would still have time to do that if you're watching this a month ahead before Lightfall. Then we have the Moon. 2 from Eris and 2 from the Lectern. Yes, the Eris bounties give XP despite them not saying they do. They've been like this since launch. I don't know why Bungie never updates it, but it is what it is. So 4 bounties total from the Moon. Then you have 2 from Shahan and the Cosmodrome. Super easy. You can complete these in like, 30 minutes flat and be done with it. Bam. And that is all the weeklies you can save except the Star Horse bounty. That, depending on what you want to do, you can do it right away and just put it in your inventory. You can only save 1, by the way. Or you can work on Paraversal Hall boxes first and then save 1 at like the end of the season in the final week. That's totally up to you. We'll get to the boxes later in the video, though. That's it for the weeklies. I wouldn't recommend saving the event weeklies because sometimes they save, other times they don't. I don't want to tell people, hey, save these, and then, they disappear in their inventory, and then they yell at me for being an asshole. So, save them at your own risk if you'd like. I personally just take the Bright Dust and fill with other stuff, but there you go. So now, dailies. Basically, I think there's 2 methods to this. You can either save dailies just straight up from the tower, filling them up with Vanguard, Crucible, Gambit, Gunsmith, etc., or you can save them up through daily planet bounties if you want to min-max your XP more. So, the reason you would save planet dailies is because you would do your Vanguard, Crucible, Gambit stuff anyway when Lightfall launches. Therefore, if you're saving a bunch of planet bounties and you pop those on day 1 with your 63, then you go to the tower, pick up all these bounties, they're fresh, there's no dupes, where, for example, like, if you saved a bunch of Vanguard bounties, you would go to Zavala day 1, and then he'd have nothing for you because you already have all of them in your inventory from previously. So this way, you kind of guarantee that all the tower bounties will be fresh, and thus you'd get more XP when you're doing your activities through that little mid-max method, I guess. It's not a big deal. And then the other method is, of course, saving 7 Gunsmith, 7 Zavala bounties, 7 Crucible, 7 Gambit bounties. The reason I'm saying 7 instead of 8 is because of an old bug that was in the game. Now, let me just immediately go ahead and put a disclaimer. If you want to save 8 bounties of each, you can. It's perfectly fine. It's worked currently in the game. I get it, right? That's cool. You can do that if you want. The reason I'm saying 7 is because we're playing Destiny 2, the video game, created by Bungie, and we all know, or at least anybody that's played this game for a very long time and experienced, that bugs happen all the effing time, and they come back all the effing time. So there was a bug previously where if you saved 8 bounties and popped them, your drop would be diluted, and it would be an old level drop from the previous season, and that's bad. So to avoid that, you can save 7 old bounties, and then do a new bounty when Lightfall launches, just to avoid that. It's not a big deal, it's not very hard, it's just being careful, because again, Bugs come back in this game all the time. Is it guaranteed that it's going to come back? No. So you can save 8 bounties if you like, but I'm just saying do 7 because it's easy, and why not? With that being said, save whatever you want, but that's the basic idea of the bounty strat. You save as many weeklies as you can, and then as many dailies as you can, and that's it for the basic fundamental of bounties. Now let's get all the other stuff out of the way. Now speaking of chunking XP, you want to have 2 things ready for you when you're popping bounties or seasonal challenges or doing whatever with XP, right? The first thing is, of course, your ghost. You want to have blinding light on, and you want to have it to the max, which is a tier 6 XP gains for 12%. Right? So sometimes this mod like comes off for a new season, for an expansion launch. Just make sure it's still on your ghost when you get into the game. Wanted to mention that. And then on top of having your ghost with the XP mod on, there's also 2 buffs that you should look out for. One is well rested. I'll put it on the screen here for people to see what that is. Basically, you get triple XP or double XP for your first 5 season rank levels. So just keep that in mind before you pop your stuff. The other thing that I wanted to mention is a team buff, which is Shared Wisdom, which you unlock in your Season Pass. Typically, it's at level 5. I'm just clicking through my Season Pass like a maniac here. Typically, the first one is level 5 right there. Increase Fireteam members' XP gains by 2%. So, ideally, you want to get your artifact and then try to get to level 5 before you pop all your bounties. If you're really trying to min-max that extra 2%, you don't have to wait. You can just pop it whenever you want. But I wanted to mention that you do get these boosts through the Season Pass. And in case you don't see Shared Wisdom on your screen, this is why. You probably need somebody to get to level 5 first, then you'll see Shared Wisdom. But once you see Shared Wisdom and or well rested on your screen, feel free to pop all your stuff then and there. Quick note, you will not see it pop up in orbit. You just have to be in somebody's fire team, but not in orbit. It could be like the tower, the helm, or just any activity. Just don't be in orbit with a fire team member, and you're good to go. And also, you don't need to be friends with them. It could be literally anybody's fire team as long as they have, you know, the perk unlocked, you're good to go. Let's quickly go over like consumables and stuff that you can save for Lightfall. None of these are mandatory. It's just helpful things. Let's quickly go over it. You can save these in the post, by the way, if you have your inventory full with the same exact amount. So, for example, Ascendant Shards. I have 10 in my inventory, therefore 10 go to the post of this character. I use these for like exotics and legendary armor to upgrade them, obviously. Enhanced Prisms, same thing, basically. 50 in your inventory, then the next ones go to your post. You can get both of these, by the way, in GMs very, very quickly to fill up in your post. Ascendant Alloys, I have a whole dedicated video on how to efficiently farm these, since these are more scarce in the game than the first 2 things that I mentioned. Thumbnail here if the video is already up before this one. Then we have Spoils. This pretty much just comes down to, do you want to save Spoils for the new weapons in the new raid to get good rolls of them, because obviously you're not going to get the crafted version of that particular weapon on week 1. So that just comes down to like, hey, I want extra weapons of these. Strange Coins, basically just for Xur related stuff, getting more keys slash paraversal boxes to like mid-max your alt characters in Lightfall. Upgrade modules. I don't think I need to explain what these are for. Upgrading your stuff. You can fill up your inventory with 25, then put on Vanguard modularity, go into strikes, and then just spam strikes until you get them to drop. That's how they go to your post. And then treasure keys, same thing with the Strange Coins, just tied to Xur stuff to mid-max like armor for character number 2 and 3 in case you don't want to do Legend Campaign. So briefly, I'm going to touch up on weapons here. But before I do, if you're enjoying the video so far, like, share, subscribe. It does help the channel, and it's free. Do you not like free stuff? What the hell's wrong with you? Alright, so back to the video. The weapons, yes. So I actually made 2 separate videos. One talking about for seasonal weapons, and one for just like raid, world drops, etc. in the game. Here they are on screen now. And I will leave the links for those in the description or in the pinned comment below if you guys want to check out stuff for weapons. Next point in prepping. So as you see on screen in my vault, you have a bunch of red borders in here. For example, the shotgun right here. So I have a bunch of these saved. So going into Lightfall, Bungie said that patterns from weapons that are not craftable will no longer be dropping in the game. So for example, the blowout rocket launcher from Crucible no longer will be a red border in Lightfall, which means getting red borders will probably be a little scarce, or at the very least, much less frequent than what we currently have now. So because of that, and me personally, I like to craft every weapon because I'm a psycho. I save a bunch of red borders in my vault in prep going into Lightfall. And if you care, me personally, I'm saving only ones that will be craftable going into Lightfall. So like Wellspring weapons, that shotgun that you saw, Palmyra, raid weapons, dares weapons, stuff like that. So this is completely up to you if you want to save extra resonant elements for new crafted weapons. If you do, then just do this strat. Finally, I want to wrap this up with some quick tips going into the last month of the season into Lightfall. Things you can prep. Artifice Armor. So Duality, about a week from now, from this video launching, Duality will be the weekly rotator dungeon. I believe that's February 7th. So in Artifice Armor, we're getting a buff. I guess, I don't know if you call it a buff, but a change in Lightfall where Artifice Armor will now have a statistical bonus of a +3 to your armor, allowing you to have better builds, you know, go double hundreds, triple hundreds, etc. So it's getting a buff in that regard, but also Artifice Armor is just the best armor in the game currently either way. Whether you believe in the extra mod slot or not, or simply just because Keitel drops insane armor in general. On Master, here I'm going to put an example of my armor on screen here. This is a common drop. I have 30 Recov and 28 Discipline. Yeah, I have a mod in there as well, obviously, but you get the idea. These are common drops in Master Keitel. If you just put in the correct Ghost mod and you go for certain stats, you will get them done eventually. So if you're going for Resilience Discipline, you put a Discipline mod in, and then you get Resilience or Recov, both for good, and you just farm that out and just change whatever stat you need for your Ghost. Very simple, extremely effective, and I highly recommend you farm out Artifice Armor going to Lightfall for each character if you can on Master Keitel. Next thing, Wendigo Adept in the final week of the season before Lightfall. The Ward of Nothing GM will have this as the weapon drop for that. Heavy GLs got a buff now, plus 20% damage heading into Lightfall with a recent Bungie article. On top of this, kinetic weapons also got a buff. So you're going to see everybody saying, is he hot swap to Wendigo all of a sudden like it's, I don't know, 2019. But in all seriousness, this got a good buff. 20% damage is nothing to scoff at. And you can farm this out in Adept in an easy GM, so why wouldn't you? Quick recommendations, Spike Nades, and either Autoloading, Clown Cartridge, Field Prep, and in the 4th slot, I would say Explosive Light or Frenzy would be your best picks. Some people like Cascade. I don't think it's better than the other two, but that's just me personally. Finally, Paraversal Halls. Now, I know you're going to say, Sneaky, why are you recommending these? We're just going to do the Legend campaign. And yes, you can do the Legend campaign and get to whatever the soft cap is going to be. However, there's two things. One, not everybody's going to do the Legend campaign, or not all people can do the Legend campaign. Two, some people might do the campaign on their first character, but not want to do it on character 2 and 3. That's where these boxes come in. You can use these boxes to fill up, or as I would call, blue up your armor on your alt number 2 and 3 to get your armor up without actually doing the Legend campaign a second or a third time and crunching it all into the first week of Lightfall launch. So for example, character 1 is done, you transfer all the weapons to character 2, then you start opening boxes and you'll get like, you know, your light level is like 1720 on your weapons, so you'll get like 1650 on a chest piece. And then that chest piece will bump you up, and your next armor drop will be 1670, or not that high, but you get the point. It slowly blues up your armor and lets you do that through the boxes instead of doing the whole campaign a second and a third time if you want. That's all for this one. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, like, share, subscribe. It does help the channel. Much appreciated. There'll be more videos on the way, especially during Lightfall. And yeah, hit that notification bell maybe. That helps too. Catch streams on Twitch. That also helps. I'm leaving now. Enjoy. Hopefully this helps. Bye.